Hello and welcome to the Mum Boss Method podcast. I'm Chrissy and you are joining me today for a Mum Boss at Home community check-in where I'm going to go through some of the wins, challenges and questions that my community have asked me in this week's check-in. So let's crack on, shall we? So we'll start with the wins. Yeah, no, we are starting with the wins. Sorry, I thought I'd just changed my screen around. Goodness me. So Claire had a good exercise week. Hannah did the Chilterns Three Peaks, 14 hard miles, and she's feeling immensely proud. You should do, Hannah. Well done. Lisa managed a walk to the end of the road and back 5 days in a row. Lisa's just recovering from some serious surgery, so that's amazing. Lisa, well done. Charlotte stuck to her calories. She stuck to her plan. No snacking, still having the occasional treat, but staying on plan. Well done, Charlotte. Stacey didn't hit the big red button, though there were plenty of opportunities to do so. Angela meal prepped for lunches and it was great and delicious. Well done. And Soph had a really busy weekend. She prioritised time for her and made sure she got in a run and an arm workout on Saturday morning. Well done, Soph. Okay, so let's go through some of the challenges and questions then. I have got a couple here. So, after some drinks on Friday night, I did give in to some carby cravings on Saturday. I know I didn't need them and that my body would have been better off with vegetables and protein, but I made the excuse and gave in. I've stuck to healthy habits the rest of the week, though, so I'm drawing a line. Okay, first thing, well done for drawing a line. Like, that's what we need to do. We need to not try to have that opinion of, well, I've had the drinks last night and now I've, eaten some carby snacks today and that weren't necessarily in my plan. So I've ruined everything. I'll just carry on ruining everything because it's that mentality that actually is what ruins the things. It ruins the progress. So well done for drawing a line and moving on. But I've got some tips for you when you might feel a little bit delicate the next day. So if you've got some drinks planned with friends, and you might feel a little bit delicate because you want to enjoy those drinks, and why shouldn't you? But here are my tips. Okay, so for the next day, plan and even prep as much as possible your food. So for the Saturday, plan and prep whatever food you can. So that might look like making the Chrissy breakfast and having that in the fridge so that you're not tempted to just, eat toast that has no protein in it and is going to leave you hungry in a couple of hours' time. And the same with lunch. Can you make sure you've got something like really nutritious in that is still reasonably like easy to cook? So I've mentioned this a couple of times, but I know there are some really good ready meals out there, and ready meals used to get they used to be rubbish, let's be honest. I remember in my early 20s when I was doing Weight Watchers and I used to have the Weight Watchers ready meals, and I swear to you, they had like two, I don't know, chicken nugget sized pieces of chicken in there and then some sauce and some veg, and they were horrible and tasted of nothing. And ready meals used to be seen as being really, really quite awful, but now you can get some great ready meals in the shops that are full of protein. You can even add a bit of extra veg on the side, and it is a case of either whacking them in the oven or the microwave if you have a microwave. I always have to be really careful with ready meals because we don't have a microwave, and sometimes I've bought a couple that are a microwave only, so that's a complete waste for me. Whack them in the oven or the microwave, have some veggies or some salads on the side, and then you're sorted. I've mentioned these before as well, like M&S. I always forget. I always want to say M&S count on us, but is it Sainsbury's count on us? Is it count on us? I'm Googling now. So what's come up here is an M&S high protein meatballs. So they do this high protein range. Yeah, high protein. Oh my God, my glasses are just terrible. High protein choices. So they've got a high protein pasta and meatballs that's got 38 grams of protein in it. So I've also heard their chicken chow mein is really nice. They've got a tandoori chicken. They've got a chicken and roasted linguine, chicken and roasted mushroom linguine. I mean, that would be pointless for me, wouldn't it? Because I hate mushrooms. They do have the Count on Us range as well. So there you go. Some really basic ideas for you. But something like that for lunch, if you're not going out or whatever, is a really good idea. Plan in a walk or some kind of activity. Doesn't have to be anything strenuous. Ideally, get yourself outside. Feel free to come and borrow my dog next time you feel like this. But try to plan in some kind of activity. We tend to just want to hide in a hole under a blanket on the sofa when we're a bit hungover. And rehydrate, the first thing you should be doing, me, can't talk about water without drinking water, is drinking some water in the morning. Ideally, even before you go to bed, drink loads of water and down a couple of paracetamol to help you. And nap if you need to and if you can. I know that's not going to be possible for everyone, but even just getting, excuse me, a quick power nap in is going to help, because a lot of the problems when it comes to hangovers, and I have especially found this as I've got older and as I've come into perimenopause as well. The problem with alcohol for me, even if I just have one or two, it's not necessarily how I feel the next day, it's how it affects my sleep and how tired I am. Because if I drink alcohol, I wake up even earlier than normal and there is no way I'm getting back to sleep. My heart races, I just can't get back to sleep. So normally I feel worse because I'm tired and I haven't had a decent night's sleep. So just give that some consideration. Hopefully those tips will help you for next time. I've had some muscle aches from training this week. I had physio and a bit of a rest before the charity walk at the weekend. So I haven't done any workouts, just walked and stretched. I did the 14-mile hilly trek today, had to take some ibuprofen halfway around. Oh, I feel you. That was me when I did the London Marathon. And now everything feels really tight. I know I need to keep moving, but how long would you recommend before going back to workouts? So here is where I can't give you a prescriptive wait this many days and until you do your next workout. The thing I would say is the longer you leave it, the harder it will be. So you definitely need to keep moving. You definitely need to keep stretching. So example, I obviously came back from holiday last Monday evening and I went to the gym on Tuesday morning and I did quite a heavy session. I also did some exercises that I've not done in a while, which meant that my thighs were in absolute pieces. I was struggling to walk down the stairs and that was hurting right up until Sunday morning. Did I let it stop me from training? No, I went back to the gym on Thursday. I did a live client workout on Friday and did a bit of a conditioning workout on Friday and went to the gym Saturday and I ran Sunday. And the run probably was the thing that helped me the most. I went running with Sarah, Steph, and Tish from the community, and by the end of the run, the DOMS had gone, the delayed onset muscle soreness had gone. Now, I'm not suggesting you now go and do 4 workouts in a row, but what I'm saying is I would get back to it as soon as possible. Give yourself a rest today, but if you can, I would do a workout tomorrow. So do a workout Tuesday or Wednesday, the latest, because the longer you leave it, the harder it will be. Yeah, that's my advice. Um, and then the same person has said, I have a plan this week and I'm sticking to it. No excuses and no alcohol. I have some self-care booked in too. And this is just a point I wanted to raise. I love that you've booked in some self-care. And what I want to challenge everyone to do is think about what they book in and what they term as self-care. And do you actually book some self-care time in? Now, what I don't mean is booking your nail appointment every 3 weeks is self-care. It isn't. It's beautifying. Okay. True self-care is taking yourself away from, you know, the hecticness and busyness of what's going on at the moment, spending some time maybe reading, doing something you enjoy, spending some time with some friends, exercising, planning and prepping some nutritious foods. Like, the traditional getting your hair done, getting a facial, getting your nails done, that's not self-care. That's beautifying, right? And yes, it can form part of your self-care, but let's really think about what self-care is. It's taking yourself into those situations that are truly going to nourish you. Sometimes even self-care is seeing your friends and having a couple of drinks on a Friday night. So I just want you to consider that, okay? That's not necessarily just for that person, that's for everyone. Okay, energy levels being low. Sometimes I've had to really push myself to leave the house just to do a very short walk. My mood has taken a bit of a hit and I feel frustrated that I can't get on with the things I want to do. Okay, so this person's also not had much of an appetite, and when they felt hungry, they've just reached for food that isn't the most nutrient rich, just went for what they fancied, and they're going to aim for more nutrients this week. They're also going to put a question in the WhatsApp group for some quick, easy meal ideas for minimal effort so that they can be eating healthily. And they also feel a little bit down and they need a hug. And I'm really sorry that you feel like that. So like I said, I'm really sorry. It is really tough, the situation that you're in and what you're going through trying to recover. There's a fine balance between listening to your body and realizing that if you do more, you will feel better. And I remember after I had some surgery, and it wasn't as serious as your surgery, but when I had some surgery, it was this one time I just felt like the recovery was just taking me so long. Being put under the GA really, really affected me that time. I was so emotional, so tired. And then just having, like, it just took me forever. It just took me so long. I don't know why. Um, so I do really resonate with how you're feeling, but my advice is to make things as easy as possible, right? With food, with getting out for your walk, with everything. I know you've got to go back to doing the school runs on your own this week, so make things as easy as possible. Get everything ready for the kids for school the next day. Make sure you're setting the alarm a little bit earlier because you need to take your time with walking the kids to school. Make sure that you are, make the more nutritious stuff the easiest option. So what I mean by that, really, read between the lines. What I'm actually just going to tell you is don't buy the non-nutritious stuff. Like, I was I was walking through Aldi on Saturday. Not the same thing, not the same situation, but my son loves like a pot noodle or a super noodle or anything like pour on the boiling water, leave it for 2 minutes, full of all the E numbers and everything. And he loves it. He loves that kind of dirty stuff, right? And they had this pack of six, I don't know, curry flavored noodle things. They weren't pot noodle, they were like super noodles in Aldi. And I thought, oh, I could get those for Charlie, couldn't I? That would be good for those days when he wants something to eat and it's kind of between lunch and dinner time and he can just do it himself. And then I thought, no, because that is actually just making the least nutritious option the easiest option for him to do because he'll love it. He'll be having one of those every day of the week when he gets in from school, when he really doesn't need it. Like, actually, normally he has some kind of fruit and nut bar, and actually, I'd rather him be having a fruit and nut bar than a super noodle. So I didn't buy it. So that's what I mean here. Like, really be critical with what you're doing with the food shopping, and don't get the non-nutritious stuff. And if you're getting treaty stuff for the kids, remember that's for the kids, that's not for you. So don't have that easy convenience. I don't know what it is that you've been picking, but don't have that stuff in the cupboards. Pick the nutritious stuff, shop for the nutritious stuff. Make that the easy option. Other examples of this is like making yourself a big fruit salad at the beginning of the week so that you've got fruit that you can dip into and just give yourself, make a little bowl of fruit salad. Pick foods that are quick to cook but taste good. Now, I know not everyone likes fish, but one of my examples of this is something like salmon, because it's such a winner, as long as you like it, obviously. It takes about 17 minutes in the oven to cook, or you can do it in quicker if you've got an air fryer. You can eat it with anything, with pasta, with rice, with, you can make it into a curry, like anything. The other day I indulged in some truffle pesto when we were in France. Truffle really does whiff up, doesn't it? But gosh, it's so tasty. I sounded really posh then, but it's really tasty. So last week's salmon, Charlie doesn't like truffle or pesto, but I just put like a teaspoon of truffle pesto on top of mine and Tom's salmon fillets, and it just completely made it taste different. And you can put, herbs on top of it. You can put, sometimes I bake it with a brush of curry paste on it. Sometimes I put breadcrumbs and like cream cheese on top of it. You can have it with anything. It's so easy, and it keeps. So there's 3 of us in the house. I always buy a pack of 4 salmon fillets, and then that means I've always got, when on the night we eat salmon, I've got a salmon fillet for the next day for my lunch. And that's also another point about making your meals really quick and easy. Think about making meals in the evening that are going to give you leftovers for lunch the next day. So I know there's 3 of you in the house. So even if one night your dinners were jacket potatoes, could you bake 4 jacket potatoes? And then the next day you just have to reheat one in the microwave if you've got a microwave. I don't. I made turkey chili last week, and that was delicious. And again, there's 3 of us, so I made 4 portions, and then there was 1 left over for lunch. This week I'm making turkey bolognese, which again, I'll make 4 portions, so there's 1 left over for a lunch. So think about what can you do that is going to serve you for the next day. And then also think about what I said in the previous question, thinking about the ready meals and things, that having a couple of those are really, really useful. Good. Okie dokie. Next one. Okay, interesting one here. So I said I would stick to calories at the weekend, but I didn't on Saturday. So I can't see this person's calories because they use NutriCheck, but you said you didn't stick to them. Let's be really logical about what you actually did. Okay, so for ease in this example, we're going to say that your deficit calories are 1,500, and they actually are, so happy days. This means your maintenance calories are approximately 2,000 a day to stay the same body composition as you are now. So if on Saturday you ate and drunk 2,000 calories, whether you tracked them or not, you're still at maintenance calories. In order to go truly over your calories, you need to eat over those 2,000. But let's think about fat gain. In order to gain 1 pound of fat, you need to eat 3,500 calories over and above your maintenance calories. So to have gained a pound of fat on that Saturday when you went out, you would have needed to eat 5,500 calories in total, which I'm betting you did not do. So it's one night, draw a line, move on. It's all fine, but also really be, critical and honest. You didn't stick to your calories, but what did you stick to? Where did you go? Good. Okay. Next. Top 3 tips for getting a good night's sleep. If you know the trick to this one, anyone, please tell me. Joke. So most of you know that I struggle with sleep. For me, it's not the falling asleep, it's actually the staying asleep. So if I wake up from around 3 a.m., it's a real struggle to get back into it. So here's my top tips. All the regular stuff like no caffeine after 2 p.m. Although for me, I just have one coffee with my breakfast at about 9 a.m. I definitely don't drink any caffeine or have any caffeine after midday. I might have a Diet Coke at around 2 o'clock, but if it was later than 2 o'clock, I wouldn't. Um, Doing something mindful like reading, journaling, crafting rather than scrolling on your phone, especially at night, not watching TV. But if you are experiencing quite stressful, anxious times, which I know this person is, making sure you make time for that stuff in your day. So doing those things that you know really kind of take you out of your head and you just have to focus on those. And then exercising for sure helps sleep, and getting outside into the daylight as early as you can as possible. Now, I know this person has said to me that they didn't really move with intent this week, knowing it would give me probably. Oh, I can't get my teeth in. I haven't really moved with intent this week, despite knowing it would have probably helped me mentally. So, yeah, remembering a lot of times not getting a good night's sleep is often down to what's going on in life. It's often down to stress and anxiety. And actually, it's managing those things. Now, it is also a side effect of or a symptom of perimenopause. So, and but managing all of those things, that stress, that anxiety, and doing the things that you know that will mentally help you are really important. And when you're thinking to yourself, I can't be bothered to go for a walk, try reminding yourself of all the reasons that it's really good for you to go to work for a walk, including how it will help you mentally and with your sleep. Okay, one of the challenges that someone has said here is making time, or the help they need from me this week is making time to prep, track, and plan. So give the Planning Your Week video a watch in the masterclasses section of the app. But the first part, like my quick tip for you here, is the first part of this is setting aside time to do it and acknowledging that nothing happens by accident. So when it comes to tracking, stop telling yourself, and I'm not by any stretch of the imagination telling you that you are, but stop telling yourself that it takes a long time to do it. Make it simple by pre-tracking as much as you can and keeping some meals repeatable. So I said this to one of my one-to-one clients the other day: keep your breakfast at least Monday to Friday the same. Keep your lunches Monday to Friday the same or similar, even if it's just like swapping out the protein a little bit, because then it is a simple case of copying and pasting those meals from Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday to Thursday to Friday, and then just adjusting them as you need to. But definitely give that masterclass a watch. Okay, it was my mum's 70th birthday this weekend, so it was basically 3 days of celebrations with lots of food and drink on offer. I drove 2 of the 3 days, and on the day I didn't drive, I had no starter and shared a dessert with my husband. I wasn't perfect, but I also wanted to enjoy the celebrations. So I love that you've said I wasn't perfect, but I wanted to enjoy the celebrations. I love that you've also made some compromises. And here's the thing, right? Yes, mum's 70th birthday is an amazing thing to celebrate. I love that you celebrated. And this might be a bit too tough lovey for some people, but something I really want you to think about is other people's birthdays are not your birthdays. So absolutely, like, enjoy those celebrations, enjoy, the cake, enjoy the meal out, enjoy the drinks. But remember that, we have those choices, and that's exactly what you've done here is you've made some choices over what you're going to really enjoy and the compromises that you're going to make. I told myself with the meals out, etc., that I didn't need to try and log everything. I know you say we don't have to log everything, but I do find it helps me, even if I log retrospectively. I was mindful in my eating this week, which I'm proud of, and so you should be. So just want to clarify this little point, if that's okay. So one thing I say, and in my one-to-one coaching and Last Diet Club, food diary review everyone at check-in. So they get a lot of food diary reviews. And I said this to someone today was, um, you know, there's this pattern. They track Monday to Friday afternoon, and then they don't track all weekend. And here's my thing about this is, what is the point in tracking 4.5 days? Because the fact that you haven't tracked at the weekend tells me that you've probably indulged, and that's okay, by the way. But what's the point in tracking 60% of your week and then not being happy that you're not making progress? And the reason you're not making progress is probably because of the 40% that you're not tracking. So what I say to you is, you don't have to track to lose body fat. I have clients working with me who do not track their food and are still making progress. I personally really like tracking for myself. It keeps me accountable. It helps me to see where I am. I like that structure. But does that mean I want to whack my phone out when I'm out for dinner with my family and celebrating a birthday? No. So it's in these situations, I would make an educated guess, even if it's retrospectively, even if Sunday night you went, right, what did I eat on Saturday? And you went through it. Because to me, yes, this was an exceptional weekend. This was different. But what I want you to all hear is, there's a difference between me saying, you don't have to track to lose body fat, and you don't have to track everything, because you don't have to track to lose body fat. People lost body fat before the invention of MyFitnessPal or NutriCheck. But if you're going to the trouble of tracking 60% of your week, why would you then not track the other 40? Because believe me, you can affect your results in 40% of the week, especially because most of the time that 40% of the week is the weekends. When I look at your food diaries, it is normally the weekends that aren't tracked. So I just want to make the really clear distinction between those two. Why go to the bother of tracking most of the week to then not track when you get to the weekend, but still understanding you don't have to track in order to lose body fat. So like I say, I would make an educated guess so that you're not whacking out your phone in the middle of a family meal on what you've had. Okay. Example, I went to the cinema on Friday night and I had the cheese plate. I obviously didn't have my kitchen scales with me, so I just guesstimated what I had. I could identify the cheeses. I knew I'd had some grapes and some apple. It was like half an apple, a small bunch of grapes. I knew there were 8 crackers, and I knew what the cheeses were, and I could roughly tell that the sizes of the cheese. So I just roughly put that in. The same, okay, that was probably quite easy to track. But if you went to a restaurant and you had Hunter's chicken with a side of chips, and then you shared a sticky toffee pudding with your husband, you could roughly find that in MyFitnessPal. And the reason I'm saying this is, and I am absolutely so proud of you being mindful of your eating while still enjoying that really special family occasion. I don't want to take that away from you. But what I'm saying is, you can, if you find tracking helpful, which is what you've told me you do in this question, then you can absolutely go back and try and guess what you've had, just so that you know. I mean, I wouldn't do it now. We're on Monday. It's been and gone. It's done. But, when for future plans that come up, for future celebrations, for future evenings or meals out, you can, even if you can't find exactly what it is, if that restaurant isn't on MyFitnessPal, it's fine. You can roughly find what you want like I say, search for Hunter's chicken. Don't go for the lowest calorie one because it will not be that one. I definitely go for something mid to high in what you're seeing. It just gives you a bit of an idea of where you're at, because so often we think, oh well, this weekend's going to have ruined it, and that's this mindset that you're in this constant, not you specifically, everyone, but you're in this mindset of, I'm really good Monday to Friday lunchtime, and then like social weekends happen, and or life happens, and then it just throws me off, and I've been bad and I give up. So give yourself some accountability, but also give yourself the data. All MyFitnessPal does is give us a bit of data, a bit of information, a bit of help with what it is that we've actually put inside our body, instead of us constantly thinking that we've done the worst. One of my one-to-one clients eats out regularly, and so has really had to, and she really likes tracking, it really helps her, but she's had to really learn how to make the best guess as possible with some of the restaurants that she eats at, because they're not on MyFitnessPal. Does she do it to, be overly controlling? No, she likes to just know where it's left her, and it helps for planning. So that's all I would say with that one is, I absolutely think you've done an amazing job of doing what you can with that weekend, and I'm really pleased that you enjoyed it, and I hope your mum had a lovely 70th birthday. But for everyone and for future, like, don't be afraid to just make a rough guess if you find that tracking helps you. But also, particularly if you're finding your weekends are the things that constantly hold you back, and I know for you specifically, you have struggled with the weekends before, give yourself that data of understanding actually what your weekends consist of, particularly when they may be a little bit sociable, because you might not be doing as much damage as you think, and you might actually be being a bit hard on yourself, but also giving yourself the data will help you to learn where you need to pull back a little bit. And then the other thing that this same person has said is sleep is the priority this week to help with hunger and cravings. So I just wanted to say that I love that self-awareness and realizing that when you're tired, that's when you tend to be more hungry and have more cravings, and therefore will then overeat. So good for you, go for it. Right, that is all of our check-ins this week. Thank you so much for all of your questions and your check-ins, ladies, and I will speak to you later. Bye bye.